My mother-in-law completely slanders me and goes for the nuclear option, and this is what happened. So my husband is military and getting ready to deploy. We got an offer from his mom to take care of our dog while he was deployed so I could still work and not have to worry about the dog being alone, as he was only 3 months old at that time. We thanked her and told her the dates he was going to be gone, which was early November to beginning of January. We told her she didn't have to do this, but we were extremely thankful. My mother-in-law is doing ketamine treatments for a major depressive disorder, anxiety, and bipolar, and isn't supposed to be traveling for several days afterwards. She took it upon herself to leave immediately after one. She insisted on coming down 6 weeks early, even though we told her we could bring the dog to her. She told us no, she needed the trip. We say okay, and she starts driving. She lives 4 states away. She gets here and immediately starts criticizing us. One of my best friends is a veterinarian and has been training dogs for most of her adult life, so I go to her for advice where my own knowledge fails. The first day my mother-in-law was here, she brought a self-feeder and a waterer, both the extra large 4-gallon ones. She bought him a giant Kong toy that was bigger than his head and filled it with peanut butter, something we told her we weren't giving him yet since both his parents are allergic. He chipped a tooth on that toy because it's rated for adult aggressive breeds, not baby huskies. She said she bought him all that stuff because the dog girl at Petco recommended it for him. Both bowls are bigger than him. An adult human doesn't need 4 gallons a day, and a puppy will just eat and drink until they're sick. They normally don't know any better, but regardless, she filled both while we were at work and gave him free reign of the house. Normally, we have the dog gates up so he doesn't destroy everything. She took everything down, gave him more than his weight in food and water. We came home to a torn up house, pee, poop, and vomit everywhere. When we got home, we got berated for how we were treating him. She was rocking back and forth in the chair, literally crying about how we were abusing him and that he didn't have enough toys, food, or water, and that we should never crate train a dog. He has an entire toy box with a wide variety of toys, bowls appropriate for his size, and while we are crate training him, it's rated for his full size, not for his current size, so it's giant. He doesn't get left alone in there, and the door doesn't shut. He has a bed, toys, and a rawhide in there. I was mad, but I didn't want to be rude, so I excused myself politely and stepped out for some air. When my husband finally came outside after being yelled at, I told him I was no longer comfortable with her taking the dog and that we would work something else out. He agreed and asked them to go back to the hotel, and we could talk in the morning. Well, morning came. We went out for breakfast and a walk in the park. While we were sitting eating breakfast, his mom brought up his dad's career. My husband tried to include me in the conversation, but I mentioned that I don't really know enough to contribute. Bless him, he tried to change the subject to include me, but my mother-in-law kept changing it back, and we were both clearly uncomfortable. We weren't that far from home, so I told him I was going to walk back so he could spend time with his mom. I texted him on my way back to ask if that was okay, or if he wanted me back, because I didn't want to be rude, but he never answered. He doesn't check his phone while he's with his mom because she gets furious if he's focused on anything other than her while they're talking. She had her phone out the entire time. They eventually said goodbye, and before he got home, a 3-minute drive from the park, he got a text from his mom calling me all sorts of things. I don't have a picture of that one, but I'm sure he would let me get one when he gets home from work. She told him that I was insecure for taking time away from them when they came all the way up here, called me a bee, a spoiled brat, and all sorts of other things. So of course he showed me in text because he's a good partner. I was hurt and angry, and I texted her a long response. She didn't respond to me. She called my husband saying she didn't realize and half apologized. I didn't mean to be hurtful. I'm sorry she was upset by my concern. I accepted it for the sake of sanity and moved on. She told us she didn't want to take the dog anymore anyway, but would pay for boarding and just wanted to have a good visit now. We told her she didn't have to pay for anything, that we would find someone, but agreed to the good day. We went out, spent the day together, had lunch, and had fun. I thought that was that, and it was all water under the bridge at that point, but I guess that's where she started hating me. My husband has always just sat and let her yell at him, so me saying, "I'm sorry, I need to excuse myself to get some air," really set her off, but I digress. A couple of weeks ago, my husband got word that he was going to be transferred to a new station soon, and he excitedly told my mother-in-law about it. She wasn't super thrilled, but we brushed it off as concern about the move and distance since it's further away than he's ever been stationed. A few days later, I sent her some pictures of my husband's new haircut because she asked me to send her pictures of him. She just said, "Nice pic," and nothing else. So I called her and asked her if she felt okay, and she told me she was worried about the move, worried that I pressured him into a further location away from her and that she would never get to see him. I told her I had nothing to do with the move and that I couldn't go that long without seeing my family anyway, so I promised we would visit. She again didn't say anything to me, but later called him about it. He reassured her that no one has any say in where the Army sends him since his job is very specialized and there's only a couple of bases in the US where he can even work, that this is actually really good for his career and that he's very close to a promotion. She said, "Oh, I didn't realize," and dropped it. Frustrating, but whatever. This week, she changed her profile picture to one with my husband and his ex-wife with the caption, "Best day of my life." It's important to mention here that his ex did a lot of damage to him. She wailed on him regularly, once hard enough to wake him out of a dead sleep the first night back from a combat deployment because she found dirty videos on his browser history. She knew he watched, she just wanted to police the genres he watched. She put parental controls on the phone and demanded she go through it regularly. She threatened to harm herself and violence against him whenever she didn't get her way. After they separated, but before she moved out, she was mad that he wouldn't hand over his phone, and she punctured their couch 16 times before pushing him to the ground. He finally filed a police report that night. Now there's a restraining order against her that she's broken twice. She's also gotten a warrant for failure to appear for her weapons surrender court date. His entire family hates her. My mother-in-law has stated that she hates her, so when I saw that his mom changed her picture to that, I removed myself. I just didn't want to deal with the drama. A couple of days later, she reached out to my husband to ask why I had deleted her. The texts are pretty self-explanatory. This is what the text from his mom said. "Hey, so I went on Facebook this morning to see if OP had any family posts about her grandpa that I could share sympathy and condolences with, only to find out that I've been unfriended. I didn't think it happened during our visit, but I don't know what I did wrong this time." Sideways smile face. "Geez, is it that bad?" And the husband said, "Sorry, I actually wanted to talk to you about this today. She wants to be in an amicable relationship with you." So here's where I might be the jerk. I was furious that she would treat him like that. I watched her use him as an emotional punching bag for our entire relationship. Every time she's depressed, anxious, or had a problem with his brother, which is roughly twice a week, she calls him to unload on him. He never feels good after the phone calls. He's always on the verge of tears, and I've seen him have a full breakdown after being told he was a bad son for not being able to get his leave approved to come visit her enough. So I sent her this giant message laying out how she was treating us. This is what the message said. "The way you behave towards your own son is almost incomprehensible. He was trying to speak up for himself for once in his life and you treated him like trash. You are an incredibly selfish, mean-hearted person and my husband doesn't deserve anything you've done to him. You are so self-absorbed that you don't even realize the anxiety and depression that you've directly caused him. He loves incredibly hard and he's been so heartbroken over how you've been acting. No child should have to be the emotional support for their parent, but I watched him do it for you multiple times and it hurts me deeply to see him cry over you. But it doesn't even seem like you care. The drive that you made does not justify how you've treated us both while you were here, and I've had a hard road too. I've made mistakes like anyone, but I sure as heck don't use it as justification to treat my own family as a punching bag. I am amazed that my husband turned out to be such a saint considering what you've put him through. But don't worry, I'll pick up the slack where you failed. I'll console him when he cries over you. When he's in a panic attack over what you've said to him, when he has nightmares from the stress, I'll be there for him. I'm sorry you couldn't grow up and simply apologize for your behavior. Maybe someday you'll see the immense damage you've caused and reach out to reconcile. But until then, you're a stranger. Goodbye. So there was no response to this text at all. Then his brother texted him an unholy nightmare of a rant about it, and my husband's response to it was incredibly calm considering what we both wanted to say. So the brother texted and said, Okay, I've tried to respect your privacy, but I can keep silent no longer. What the heck is going on in your head, dude? I am livid and sickened by everything that is going on with you and OP towards mom and the rest of us. You may not care, but we have been there for mom since she got back, and she is not sleeping, having panic attacks, and throwing up all this stupid stuff that you're throwing at her face. This chick you are with now, that you are married to now, is a clone of your ex. She is pulling all the same childish nonsense. She is blocking all of us just for talking to you. I'm scared for you, brother, and confused by the fact that you're letting this stuff happen. You are her B, just like your ex. She says jump and you say how high. When mom came to see you, you pushed her away and treated her worse than dirt just cause that B said to. If you had any kind of self-respect, you would have dumped her over that and actually spent time with mom and grandma when they drove 4 days to see you. If you have any respect for this family, put that B in her place and stop letting her tell you which direction the sky is. So at that point, my husband and I talked and decided that all of this was entirely too much drama, and we both blocked the whole family. But that's where we are now. I'm unbelievably thankful for my husband's support here, but I still needed to vent and let this all out. I know my response to her wasn't in great taste, and I'm not making excuses or anything, but I just snapped at that point. I really didn't care what she said to or about me, but treating him like that just pushed me over the edge. Did we do the right thing here? Was blocking them the best course of action? How should we handle things going forward? My husband would like a good relationship with his dad, but holidays and reunions are going to be challenging. Does anyone have any advice on how to maneuver that? So there is an update to this where the OP says, my husband had a conversation with his dad. His dad is trying to remain neutral, it seems, which honestly I respect. That being said, his reasoning for my mother-in-law acting the way that she was that she's chemically imbalanced and can't always control her emotions. My father-in-law wants my husband to unblock his mother and have a conversation with her to try and work things out. He told my husband that she's taking him blocking her pretty hard, blaming herself for everything that happened. This last week, I've been overrun with nightmares about a narcissistic ex of mine. It took so much fighting to get him out of my life for good, and so many of the same earmarks are here now. I'm so scared what she's going to do if my husband ends up reaching out to her. He's on the fence about it right now because he's also sick of her acting this way. He doesn't know if he wants a relationship with her at all anymore. Now, this feels a little unfair to me, but am I just being overly insensitive here? She does have a lot of mental health issues, but does that mean I have to just take everything she has to say lying down? If my husband does reach out, should I keep her blocked? My husband ended up texting his dad last night, laying it out all on the table for him. Then we woke up this morning to a response from my father-in-law. In the response, he said to my husband that he is a part of her treatment, that he needs to reconcile for her treatments to work, and that mother-in-law might attempt to unlive herself and needs a stress-free environment. Guys, I'm about to be absolutely unhinged. Father-in-law is literally begging us to take her nonsense, and I'm terrified that my husband is going to crack. My mother-in-law wasn't always this bad, and he wants to go back to the days of her being supportive. As of right now, he's sticking to no contact. Originally, I thought father-in-law was neutral, but while mother-in-law / brother-in-law were calling me crazy, a B, a clone of the abusive ex, and unstable for standing up for myself and my husband, father-in-law is remaining calm. I mistook this for neutrality. So in the next update, the OP says, I thought we were done. I thought we had made it clear what needed to happen before contact was made. I thought father-in-law, though equally as manipulative, had at least understood. But my husband got a text yesterday morning asking if father-in-law was still allowed to talk to him. Followed it up with, and assuming yes, I'd like to try and sort out what it would take to get you to talk to your mom. As if he hadn't been crystal clear in his last texts. The one glimmer of hope that he gave us was saying that my husband could set ground rules if he wanted. He said that mother-in-law's latest treatment went well and that she's doing better. The last text we got from her was 19 days ago. So sorry if I don't believe that she's completely flipped her life around. My husband has her blocked on Facebook and I'm not friends with her, but some mutual friends are telling us about the whole woe is me guilt trippy posts she's been making as recently as Wednesday. Well, before yesterday, my husband wanted to hold on to that glimmer of hope that his mother was going to get better and that things between them could be reconciled. He responded with a long text, basically saying that while he hopes father-in-law is right and her treatments are working, he's just not ready to accept the risk of that behavior in his life again. He doesn't want to welcome that toxicity into our marriage. He told father-in-law that the very first step towards any healing or reconciliation would be a genuine apology to me. He told father-in-law that right now he still feels like breaking the no contact would be sending a message that he can be guilted into forgiving her and all of her name calling and general hostility. That went over about as well as you would expect. Here's the quote. "Not trying to guilt you into anything. I'm asking a question in an attempt to reconnect as a family." I'm a bit confused too, as it seems like you're now saying that your mom is abusive. When did you put her into that category? Friends, I was furious. He told my husband that he could say ground rules for contact, then didn't like that the only thing my husband asked of her. I've been so worried my husband was going to let them back into our lives, but he really let his spine shine through when he responded, and I love him so much more for it. He said it out straight for father-in-law, told him that he's really hurt over everything mother-in-law has pulled, called out her toxic behavior, called out father-in-law on his unwillingness to agree to the only thing that my husband has asked for, then told him in no uncertain terms that he was done. He blocked father-in-law and brother-in-law on social media, then blocked all three of them through his phone carrier. We had a long talk about it last night and agreed this was the end of any hope there was still of having contact again. So what should I do in this situation, and am I the jerk? It seems like the way the family is set up here, there's never really going to be a permanent severing off of the family, which is maybe why things keep going in circles. I mean, they sort of halfway apologize and say, hey, it's not going to be that way, but then immediately fail to acknowledge what has actually happened prior to that. Like, for example, the father-in-law being surprised of what they think about the mother-in-law. I mean, what do they think they were arguing about this entire time? It's almost like as soon as she gets an ailment or something is going on with her, he disregards all the other aspects of it. So it's understandably incredibly frustrating from the perspective of the OP. But this is a very tangled thread. Let me know what you would do if you're in this situation down below, and jerk or not a jerk, and why.